This is the scene of Thursday night's barn fire, which, as you can see, still smoldering there behind me nearly a day later. Police remain on scene here as well. The court finally unsealed this 6-page affidavit in the case. It provides a lot more details into the circumstances surrounding Stephanie Gingibo's death. John and Taylor, 38-year-old Robert Burton turned himself in here to the Piscataquis County Sheriff's Office just this afternoon. State police say they found the body here at the home on Tuesday night. That body was transported to the medical examiner's office in Augusta. The Marine Patrol tells us boating under the influence is the leading cause of boater death nationwide. And firefighters say that remote location made it very difficult to get crews out here. Organizers say that by involving the public in this survey, they hope to improve public transportation for everyone. Lobstermen like Darren Shute credit an increased demand for lobster and lobster meat. The whole project is expected to take the better part of 2 years. In the meantime, cargo ships and fishermen are being forced to relocate. The Hills say they are overwhelmed by the sheer number of people that have come out of the woodwork to help them rebuild. Where the law gets even more complicated is with products that are neither beer nor wine. For example, this twisted tea is treated like beer. You can buy it any day of the week. But if you want a Mike's Hard Lemonade and it's not Sunday, well, you're out of luck. You can't have Riverfest without food, obviously, and this is something you can find all weekend. Larry runs a huge operation here, about 125 cows in all, including these 2 little ones. They were born just 2 days ago.
So you want to place it against the shoulder. So
okay.
one shoulder, and then squat down and try to pick it up, and then get your hands underneath it. Then you're going to run and try to flip it end over end. And then flip. There you go.
Well, topping the news tonight, a teenager from Sydney has died after an ATV crash. Game wardens say 18-year-old Haley Cummings was the passenger on the ATV when it went off a gravel driveway. 3 bodies found in Booth Bay Harbor have been identified tonight as a high school teacher and his parents. Fire tore through 2 businesses in Calais this morning. Police in Bangor have arrested the driver of a vehicle involved in a 3-car crash that closed Route 3 in Trenton this afternoon. Well, residents in Medway voted by a 5-2 margin against a proposal to build a national park in the Katahdin region. Fireworks were also the cause of a fire last night in Lincoln. To say Angie Gooden got a rude awakening Friday morning would be an understatement.
The sexton called and told me that someone had tried to dig up my father's grave. I couldn't believe it.
Sure enough, she arrived at the Pleasant Hill Cemetery on Route 143 to find just that, her family plot in ruins.
They dug at least halfway down to my dad's and a little bit on my mother's. And then my sister's is completely dug up right to the vault. Dug all 4 handles out, pry marks on the handles where they tried to get it up.
Investigators from the sheriff's office responded looking for clues on who might have done this. Gooden says she's at a loss.
I don't know why. I can't imagine why someone would do something so sick. You hear about gravestones getting tipped over, but you don't hear about people trying to dig somebody up.
She says she has no idea why someone would want to disturb her loved ones.
My dad's a war veteran. He was the sweetest guy. And my mom, she did whatever she could for everyone. My sister, I don't think ever realized how many people cared about her.
The sexton was able to fill this plot back in with as much dirt as he could find, but as you can see, there's still a lot of work to be done to get this back to the peaceful resting place it once was. The Goodens pray that police find whoever did this, if only to spare others from the pain they feel.
If anyone was driving by and saw something and just thought it was strange that someone would be grieving late at night or whatever, and now they can put 2 and 2 together, I wish they would call the Penobscot Sheriff Department.
This, as a heartbroken family and a community, are left wondering why.
Once you put your relatives, your loved ones to rest, you think they're going to stay there and be safe. It's rest in peace, but not in their case.
11-year-old humpback whale Spinnaker was found dead near Acadia National Park last week.
She is a local yearly visitor to the waters off of Mount Desert Island.
The carcass was towed to Hull's Cove for an external examination over the weekend.
Today we will be doing the internal examination, so we will be looking for primarily cause of death.
Officials at the College of the Atlantic, which is leading the necropsy, say the whale had become tangled in fishing nets several times in years past.
We're sure that entanglement had led in one way or another to her demise. What actually killed her is what we hope to determine with a little bit more acuity.
That means looking at every inch of this 35-foot mammal.
Really critical to notice her GI tract. Is anything lodged inside?
Obviously a massive animal. How do you do that?
We use big knives and lots of people. And a lot of coffee and Gatorade.
They've got several teams of cutters that are rotating in and out here, taking samples, as well as plenty of people waiting in the wings, taking measurements, taking notes, and transporting the pieces into this dumpster.
It's definitely something that I've never really had an opportunity to do before, to get really up close and personal with a carcass such as this. It's been really interesting.
They'll save Spinnaker's skeleton for further research, and the tissue samples will be sent to a lab. But scientists say it's possible they'll never be able to pinpoint exactly why and how she died.
This is a loved whale. It's just a sad, pulls on the heartstrings.
We want to do right by her in death if we couldn't in life.
John Krinjak, WABI TV5 News, Bar Harbor.
You've got a what? Yeah, an old Twinkie.
Inside the walls of George Stevens Academy in Blue Hill, there's a decades-old dessert in the dean's office.
The Twinkie has been around since the school year 75-76.
How did the hallowed hostess cake get here?
My chemistry teacher, Roger Bonatti, was teaching us about the chemistry of foods. So we brought him the bag of Twinkies. He promptly ate one and put the other one on top of his intercom and said, well, let's see how long it lasts, or how long it takes to decompose.
After 39 years, they're still waiting. What has happened to it?
Not a lot. It still has the same shape. It's crumbly. It's really hard, but it did not completely decompose. It really just dried out.
Is it a little disconcerting that it hasn't really spoiled?
Yes, and that's what amazes kids about it.
Can I really touch it? Yeah. Among students here, reaction is mixed.
It looks disgusting. But to see that it's lasted 40 years and it still looks like a Twinkie, sort of, I don't know, pretty cool.
Do you think it's still edible?
Ew. I wouldn't eat it.
The distinction isn't official, but no one here has heard of a Twinkie that's lasted longer. The dean says she doesn't expect it to spoil anytime soon.
I think you'll be here for another 50 years.
But she says maybe someday the hoopla will die down for this well-preserved pastry.
Eventually it will be nothing but an old piece of food in a glass and wood case.
It's not that right now.
Well, it is that right now, but I mean, that's all it will be. It will be nothing more than that.
John Krinjak, WABI TV5 News, Blue Hill.